Great. Hello, everyone, and welcome to November 12th meeting of Lafayette Design Review Commission. I start the meeting with calling tonight's meeting to order. We'll start the meeting with a roll call.
Travis Kauser, present.
Armand Hadilu present.
John Gray, present.
Richard Stanton, present.
Thank you. We have 4 of the commissioners present and meeting the quorum. We move to item 3A. Adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. So the adoption, the agenda is adopted. Public comments for items not on this or an upcoming agenda and within the purview of the commission. Do we have any raised hands?
If you're attending on Zoom and you would like to speak, please raise your hand. There are no hands raised.
Okay. And we don't have any comments here. Sounds good. So we move on to 5A, draft meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to adopt the minutes?
I'll move that we adopt the minutes of October 28th as written.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
So we adopt the meeting minutes for October 28th meeting. The next item is 8A DR 02-24 Stroud R15 zoning request for design review and grading permit to demolish an existing 1-story, 2,200 square foot single family home and garage. Construct a new 4,373 square foot single family home and attached garage with a maximum ridge height of 27 foot 9 inches and grade 150 cubic yards of cut and fill each at 830 Broadmoor Court. Project planner is Arlie Cassidy, please.
Good evening, commissioners. It's good to see you again. As mentioned, this is a design review application and grading permit for a demolition of the existing home and construction of a new 2-story home at 830 Broadmoor. The property is located at the corner of Broadmoor Court and St. Mary's Road. You can see outlined in green in the bottom right corner of this image. The property sits on a parcel that is approximately 13,000 square feet or 0.3 acres and is zoned R15. This is a Google Street View image of the property. It's a little bit outdated, but does give you an understanding of the slope of Broadmoor as it comes down from St. Mary's, which you see in the upper right corner. This is looking up the driveway, which is facing to the east. And it shows the front of the house here, as well as the existing mature vegetation along the front of the property line. The the house has actually updated its color since then. These are more recent photos provided by the applicant in the project set. You can see that the front on the upper right has a garage that's set back quite a bit with the front door to the right. And in the rear, there's a large concrete patio at the rear yard. There's some images of the sides of the house as well. You can see the white color of the current structure. This is the existing footprint of the house. Again, front is on the left, and so the garage is set back a bit along this driveway. The front door is here. Front setback, however, does face Broadmoor. Oops, excuse me. And then the concrete patio in the rear. So the existing house and garage together are about 2,200 square feet. The total impervious surface currently is 4,456 square feet. This is only slightly under what is proposed in the new project. This is the full site plan. Looking at the bottom first, impervious surface goes up just 121 square feet to 4,577 square feet, whereas the house does go up quite a bit to a total of 4,373 square feet. That's both floors, obviously, and includes the 500 square foot garage. On the site plan, you can see that the driveway maintains the basic same layout, but is brought into the property a little bit. The garage comes forward. I'll just point out this shaded shape is the existing house below the proposed house. So you can kind of see that general shape. It does come forward here. There's a walkway crossing the front and along the side of the house. The front door sits here between 2 projections, which we'll see on the floor plan in a moment. No changes are proposed at the rear of the house past the rear of the structure and the two side yards. Looking now at the first floor on the left and the second floor. First floor generally is common rooms, mostly open at the rear of the house. You have a guest bedroom and office projecting forward, and again, a reset back, that's the front door here with a foyer. The kitchen aligns here with both a pantry and a mudroom onto the garage along this north side with a two-car garage attached. Stairs are on the south, which come up to an open to below area. There are 3 bedrooms as well as a master suite on the right. And then on the outside, this veranda on the first floor goes up into a smaller covered porch off that master suite. So looking at the proposed project compared to the existing, the proposed project, as mentioned, is 2 stories. It does have the same general building pad area of the existing, but an expanded footprint. There is obviously a height increase. Existing is about 16 feet, whereas the proposed to the top ridge goes to 27 feet 9 inches. However, in Lafayette, we measure maximum height slightly differently, which is an average of the highest roof form, so a slightly lower height, which measures 24 4 inches, which is well below the 35-foot maximum. Looking now at the rear, you can see that veranda and covered porch with articulation there. Obviously, the rear patio has been removed, and we see the various finishes, which I'll get into in just a moment. On the south side, this is facing St. Mary's. Not a lot of fenestration. There's a narrower second story that sits back from those 2 front room projections. And then, of course, a chimney with the wider stone accent wall on the first floor. You can see the veranda and in gray beyond it above the covered porch. And then on the north side, this is facing the closest neighbor. You see, again, smaller fenestration. The rooms, as I described them, starting on the lower right, that's big room, big window faces into the garage. The 2 smaller on the first floor are again the pantry and mudroom. Above that, the 2 small windows go into the bathroom and walk-in closet of the master suite. And the 2 longer windows on the right do go into 1 full bedroom. You can also see the arbor over the garage and beyond it, the projection of the house that leads to the guest bedroom. Looking at proposed materials, the siding would be board and batten. On the first floor, a light gray, which is the upper left in the material board here, with a black metal roof, standing seam. Whereas on the second floor, a darker gray, middle upper color, with a black shingle roof is proposed here. Window trim would be black, and the stone accent wall would be light kind of gray tan mix. This would be used at the chimney wall and the columns that you see on this front elevation here. The site sections are quite useful in understanding impacts of the second floor. You can see on the top, this is looking west along a north-south axis, and then on the bottom, looking north up Broadmoor on an east-west axis. So at the top, the building to the left, that is the closest neighbor, just to the north of the proposed project. You can see that second floor does come up above the existing building on the left, the residence. There is existing vegetation along that property line. There's a bit of an opening actually where the 2 buildings overlap. But when I did a site visit looking from the property to the north, the second floor windows would actually look mostly down onto the roof. The vegetation there, though there aren't tall trees, is enough to block most views towards the first floor windows. The building, the house to the north is only 1 story. Also, a good portion of that south side facing the project is garage, though there are other rooms behind it. Where views from the second floor towards the rear yard of the residence next door are mostly blocked by taller trees that are to the rear of the project on the project site. And then looking at the lower site elevation, this is going on the left across Broadmoor to our neighbors. You can see it's much farther away. And again, the residence across the rear yard is well suited, sited back. All of these homes, other than the one to the north, are over 100 feet away. The one to the north sits approximately 24 feet, I believe, 24 feet 1 inch away from that one. Excuse me. A grading permit is also proposed due to the amount of grading over 50 cubic yards. The site, however, is generally level. Most of the grading is due to the slight incline at the south end as it goes up towards St. Mary's. The expanded building footprint will eat into that just a bit. And to make the larger building site, some soil will be moved from the slightly higher bottom right of this image to the lower left to make our flatter building pad. There is an 18-inch retaining wall proposed along that incline at the bottom right along St. Mary's. It's just 18, sorry, 18, no, sorry, I put too many quotes there. It's an 18-foot wall that is in fact still a 1.5 feet tall. And then drainage, you can see, is generally going to both sides. These arrows show how drainage continues to go out to the landscaped lawn rear yard, and then along the front to the landscape area off property, that tree buffer along Broadmoor. There is a proposed landscape plan. Again, this wraps the front and sides of the house, but does not continue into the rear. No work is proposed in the rear yard. All of the existing trees are proposed to be retained. There are no proposed tree removals as part of this plan. The artificial turf is the dotted area on either side of the two concrete paths along the front. So this larger area on the left and a smaller area on the right. Everything else with a darker color or darker line is proposed landscaping. Most of the plants are California natives, and other than 1 or 2 are low water use. There is a new lighting plan along with the house. Just 2 fixtures are proposed, both dark sky compliant. There are 9 path lights shown in green dots around the paths on either side, and then step lights are concentrated, 3 at the front steps, and then the remaining 13 around the shallow steps of the veranda to the rear. The project was referred out to Central San, EdMud, Engineering, Fire, and PG&E. No comments were received from Fire and PG&E, and standard comments were received from Central San and EdMud. Matt Luttrop, city engineer, did have a few comments from engineering. They're listed here summarized. The first regarding driveway material, they're also in more detail in your staff report. The driveway material comment, the applicant plans to comply in their submittal for a building permit. This is just a requirement of when the driveway shifts from the proposed concrete to the asphalt of the street. They'll just comply with those requirements. Comments 2 and 5, the landscape architect will respond regarding the comments about what's between the strips of concrete for the driveway, and a detail on the artificial turf and its depth and what goes below it. And then on question 3 and 4, updated drainage plans have been submitted, which did meet with engineering approval as far as the drainage and the bubbler location. The project was noticed to the 30 surrounding neighbors, which is a 300-foot buffer, and posted in 3 locations in advance, 10 days in advance of the meeting. No public comment has been received regarding the project. With that, staff does recommend that the DRC find the project exempt from SEQA and adopt DRC resolution 2024-17, approving the project subject to be attached to conditions of approval. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
So I have a question. You shared color information, a color board. I was looking, I didn't remember seeing that, and I don't think I can find it in the material that was sent to us.
It was in the staff report, but not as an
Okay, it
attachment.
was in the staff report. That's why I didn't see that. Was there a colored rendering of the elevation?
No, there wasn't.
So then can you put up the elevation and let me find the finished material so I just could understand that better?
About an extra copy.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, that's all. Thank you. Okay, so we've got
More true
the
color.
2 gray and so,
So the light gray in the upper left is for the first floor siding, and the next over, the darker gray, is for the second floor siding. There's a black metal roof and a black comp shingle roof. First floor, second
Mhm.
floor.
Mhm.
Black awning, excuse me, window trim. And then the stone you can see is on a lighter kind of gray brown
Mhm.
pattern.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. This is helpful.
Any more
Yeah, I
questions?
have a question. So in somewhere I read that there was, that the landscape architect was recommending removal of an elm tree.
Apologies, that was the city landscape consultant, I believe, was recommending that removal.
Oh, but it's not proposed to be.
Not proposed in the arborist report.
I see. Okay, thanks.
Any more questions? So thank you. We are gonna move on to applicant's presentation.
My name is Bill Wood with Waynewood Architects and work with Alex Stroud on several projects in Lafayette. And one thing I really admire him in on every project I do with him is he goes around to every neighbor. We talk, tell him exactly, he tells them exactly, you know, what's going on and I think that's probably why all the times we work together, all the neighbors seem to be very friendly and he's a good neighbor when it comes to doing construction too. He's really been good at, you know, doing his PR in the neighborhood. The one thing, yeah, the no trees removal between St. Mary's and the house as well. We're keeping all the trees. There's a lot of good screening from St. Mary's. If you take the second floor, which we have a small, we did the smallest elevation facing St. Mary's Road so that it would be the level of the second floor is pretty much about the same level as the actual road, about 40 feet away from the actual street itself. And there was one question we were just talking just a few minutes ago, because of the fireplaces now don't need to have chimneys anymore. In a lot of the houses now, we do it for just aesthetics. But on this one that faces St. Mary's Road, there's a pretty massive fireplace on A10. And just want your opinion, and then we can leave it. Just thought I'd mention it to Alex. That is, now that we have a direct vents fireplaces and it's all gas, we don't need to have chimneys going, you know, 15 feet above the first floor through the roof anymore, especially when it's facing St. Mary's Road. So that element, you can see that's a smaller, that second floor is a smaller element facing St. Mary's Road. The chimney is not required, but we can leave it, but just wanted your thoughts on whether or not if we should eliminate it or not.
Are you saying just the second floor?
Yeah, just because the first floor we would retain, is keep the same advance, but we can do a direct vent out the side of the house and then eliminate the chimney going all the way up through the roof on the second floor. I mean, it's just more personal preference, I guess. I mean, it gives a little bit of a, you know, character to the house, but
I mean, we want to eliminate, it's fine with me.
well, I don't know, it's
It makes it
I don't,
cleaner. I mean, it's kind of hidden on that side.
yeah, it's pretty much hidden. That was it. I'm happy with the colors that we worked with staff on in terms of the first floor and second floor and the materials and everything. And I think it's gonna be a great addition to the neighborhood. That was about it. As far as my invitation, I think the staff did a great job of, thanks Arlie for pretty much covering everything.
Sure, thank you. Any questions for the applicant?
No.
Okay.
Sounds good, thank you. Do we have any public comments?
If you're attending on Zoom and would like to speak, please raise your hand. No hands are raised.
Okay,
Yes.
sounds good. So we are gonna move on to the commissioner's comments. Do you want to go first?
I'm happy to start.
Yeah.
I think this is generally an attractive, well thought out house. It has a kind of a sort of a craftsman-y massing. And the board and batten, I think, is fine. You know, in general, I think it's a coherent composition. My one question, and I would say it's, you know, it's nothing that would cause me to, you know, insist on something. Personally, I find the stone treatment to kind of be an extra that doesn't fit in with the rest of it, especially the pilasters framing those two projecting bays up front. You know, I know it kind of dresses it up a little bit, but to me, it feels foreign to the architecture. The chimney on the side, I'm just looking at your drawing on my screen. I think it adds to the quality of the massing, but it's not in a place where it'll be widely seen. But the large zone of stone below it, to me, I don't really think it adds. If it were something that was expressing the fireplace, that would be, half that size or less, it sort of makes sense. I think this house would be very nice without any of the stone. And, while the chimney, I think, adds to the articulation of that facade, I don't find it's essential if you don't feel that it benefits you. So I don't have any complaints with the architecture at all, and I would just say that some of the dress up maybe isn't necessary in my opinion. But I think it's a nice project.
Thank you. We're gonna move on to next commissioner.
No comments.
Thank you.
I would agree. I mean, I think the house is well designed. I think it fits on the site well, given the way St. Mary's and the other work there intersect, and then you've got the grade change and all. I think it's gonna fit nice, sort of nestled into that site. As far as the material selections go, I think they're fine, and if you wanted to get rid of the chimney, I think it's really the applicant's choice, but I wouldn't have any objection to that. I certainly sympathize with, it's all gas fireplaces these days, and you don't really need the big chimney. And if the same goes, I think John's comment about the pilasters on the front, that they're not really adding a whole lot, but if so I'm kind of either way, it would work for me on that. And I think the choices for the landscaping are appropriate, low water and low maintenance. It's good. So overall, yeah, I think it's a great project.
Thank you. I agree with my fellow commissioners. I think it's very well designed. Regarding to John's comments about this stone, I agree with him. I think in general, stone applies to large surfaces, just, the nature of the material, how it, kind of anchors down the building and grounds it. I think it's gonna work better if you have a larger surface that's, working with that material application. But besides that, I think it's the composition of the materials, standing seam, board and battens. It's got, a lot of texture happening here, and there's enough articulation happening that it's not gonna hurt if you remove the stone from the base. The same comment about the chimney, I think it helps with breaking down the massing and that elevation, but again, it's hardly visible from any public street views, so we just leave it up to you if you would like to maintain or remove that. Besides that, I think we are ready to approve the project. I'm just gonna go back to
May I make a suggestion?
Sure, please.
If the chimney is not essential one way or the other, we add a condition allowing its removal so
Sure.
that building permit removal, it's very clearly articulated that it can be there or not.
yeah, that sounds good.
Thank you.
That'd be great.
So, yeah.
For a motion,
Yeah, I'm gonna make a motion to adopt the resolution 2024-17. Finding the project exempt from CEQA and approving the project subject to the conditions of approval in addition to what staff just mentioned.
so we would suggest adding an allowance that says the applicant may choose to remove the chimney and the stone veneer at their option.
Did you get a second yet?
No, not yet. Do we have a second?
Second. Did you guys have a question?
Well, it was about the story poles. There are people living in the existing home right now, and with the story poles all over the house. And when it gets windy, it gets kind of.
Yeah.
Want to know how long after tonight would we have to leave the story poles up?
Typically, the requirement is they come down within 30 days.
Okay,
If
good.
you
Well,
have any worry of an appeal, I would recommend leaving them up, but
Right,
given
10
the
days.
public comment,
Okay.
you are allowed to take them down anytime.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
We
Um,
do not have a final vote on the motion.
We are not gonna find out. Oh, yes, yes, that's- yeah, exactly.
Motion
Yeah.
in a second.
Second,
All- yeah,
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So we approve the project with the conditions. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Sure. We are gonna move on to the next item, 9A, art volunteer needed for Friday, November 15th at 9:30. Sorry, we are missing Glenn tonight, so
It's okay. He,
might be,
he has not volunteered, but if no one is able to attend, he can step in.
sure.
Thanks.
But
Keep that just.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Do we have a volunteer? Yeah, if Glenn couldn't make it, I would be happy to do that. Just give me a please. Do we have any commissioners reports?
I've got a question for staff.
I'm sorry, may I interject? We had something that we wanted to add to other business that was not on the agenda, but we simply wanted to let you know that the last meeting of the year is scheduled for Monday, December 23rd. We do not have any items on the meeting and we are planning to cancel it. Just wanted to
Yeah,
pass that
sounds good.
information on.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
I wanted to ask, are you planning to, is there an agenda for 2 weeks from now, which is Thanksgiving week?
There is a planned meeting, but I don't know that we have anything on it.
Correct. Yeah, there's a planned meeting, but no items are currently on the agenda.
And the deadline for submitting items is just a few days from now?
The notice would go out tomorrow. Yeah, so it's highly unlikely.
Okay,
Okay, well, hopefully we get a chance to meet in the beginning of December then.
There are 2 items on that meeting already.
okay. Sounds good. Thank you. Do we have any staff liaisons report? Okay, thank you. Meeting adjourned.
All right, thank you
Thanks,
both.
everyone.
Thank you so much.
Straight to them.
I said like 10 hours.
Oh,
Day after.